And your take?
I agree. I can just say ditto. I think there is certain types of experiences that are required at certain times in our history. I think the kind of experience that and Obama brings is, as the mayor said, is he is. I'd say he doesn't represent change. He is change. He's the personification of change in the sense that he is a citizen of the world. As the mayor said, he is. He has Indonesian relatives. He has Kenyan relatives. He has white American relatives. He has African American
from Kansas.
And he's somebody who has married into an African American family. So the story of America is the story of Barack Obama. He has walked with kings, but he has not lost the common touch. And I think in times like these, when our reputation around the world is in the gutter, it immediately gets a new face when in the personification of a Barack Obama. I think the international community looks at America differently. Like, you know what? Maybe they're not the great Satan or the great evil as we have pervaded ourselves and our image around the world. They can elect a black man who has white blood, who has ties to Indonesia and to Kenya. Maybe that says something about America that we did not know about. And I think expurgating that around the world will solve our international crisis. And at home, as the mayor said, this is a man who has worked with people in poverty. This is a man who could have had any job, been a corporate lawyer, and made millions of dollars and said, I'll deal with the people later. He took a $25,000 job in a beat-up car to organize poor people, to help find retraining for people who had lost their jobs and had industries closed. And so this is a man who just paid off his law school loans at the age of 46 2 years ago, him and his wife. So if anybody knows about paying bills and being late, and I'm a lawyer who's still paying law school bills too, I relate to that. He relates to me. So that's something that's refreshing. And to think that this man is now online to become the president, an average Joe, an average guy, but someone who is above average and beyond average in terms of his temperament, his demeanor, his education, and his sympathies and what he's worked for, is an exciting time for 21st century America.
Back to this question, we have Jesse, we have Travis Smiley, we have Sharpton, and a lot of the great black leaders. They've not come forward yet to pledge their support to Obama. Is that a reason?
Well, Jesse has.
Yeah, Jesse definitely is out. Yeah, Jesse
and Junior.
Yeah, both of the. Yeah, they both. The wife is with Hillary though.
Right, exactly.
Of course.
But I think it's. I think there's a lot of things at play there. I mean, I think that there is, as somebody who's from a younger generation who had to fight a little bit to kind of get recognized. I mean, but I don't think it's a black thing. I think if I went to high school with Tom Kane Jr.
Okay.
And Tom Kane's talk about well, I was my daddy's son too, and I had to kind of muscle my way in some things. And he had a little easier. His dad was the governor. He's rich, but there is a generational kind of divide at times within our community. I mean, I think Barack likes to talk about the Moses generation being the civil rights leadership and so your traditional vanguard of leadership, and him being part of the Joshua generation, the ones who will take us into the promised land, if you will, to pick up the baton.
I've heard that sermon before.
You heard that sermon before.
I thought it was an innuendo.
Well, I like Barack, consider myself part of the Joshua generation. We were the generation that were told.
I got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. 1 foot in the Moses and 1 foot in the Joshua.
The man's a tweener.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in betweener. Yeah.
But so you're going to win on either hand.
Well, we're going to work on either hand.
We look at my dad told me to go to a better school than he went to. My dad provided opportunities for me to go to a private school and get an education, to hobnob with folks he didn't have opportunity to do. And so the only requirement request he made was that you take those new skills and that you serve your people, that you come back to Newark, that you do what Booker T. Washington said, you drop your buckets where you are. And that's what I've done. And so, but at the same time, folks in some of that generation have always said, though, well, wait your turn. I said, well, we're better educated because you provide those opportunities. We thank you for it. We have better connections, and we can raise money, and we can bring resources and things that maybe your generation could not. That's a good thing. It's not a negative thing. So why should we wait? And so in a lot of instances, we've run against, the status quo. We run against sort of. I think Barack kind of represents that to some degree. That here is a guy who may not have come to the traditional route. But I'm encouraged because he's the fruit of the labor of the civil rights generation. He's the fruit of the labor of our grandparents and our parents. He's the fruit of that labor, and while it may not be the one that they wanted, he's the one that's right for this time and right for this challenge, and the one that can win. And so I think that may be part of it. But more and more, you see some of those leaders now, particularly after he won Iowa. I think Iowa for Barack Obama's campaign was the test. The first test, and he jumped that hurdle because he proved, let's be frank, that white folk will vote for a black guy, and then he did well in the South, and I was fortunate enough to meet with Barack Obama after he did a rally in Newark before the Iowa primary, and he was very emphatic. He goes, look, if I can't win the first 2 out of 4, I'm not going to get the jersey, but we've done the things we need to do. We had to raise the money first, we had to build the organization first, and we've done those things, and if we can win, we'll have what we need structure-wise and money-wise to compete. And so it's always been a growing sort of movement, if you will. And as he's grown, those leaderships have come upon him. Reverend Lowry from SCLC has endorsed him, and you see more of now. He has the overwhelming majority of the Congressional Black Caucus now supporting him. You got a few that are still out there, but so you're seeing a lot more local folks supporting him. You see his numbers among African American votes in the South and in the North growing. So now he gets 80 to 90% of the vote in our community. So it has been a marriage that has gotten better as time has gone on. Between our traditional civil rights leaders and such, and the Barack Obama campaign. And then it was a vetting out process. They wanted to make sure this brother was going to represent.
One time they said, was he black enough?
Was he black enough? Yeah, exactly. So you look at those things, and it's because he is the new kid on the scene. But you got to show and prove, as we say in the neighborhood. So he showed, and I think he's proven.
Senator Biden said he's fresh and clean.
Fresh and clean. Fresh and clean, exactly.